Sunday kind of love, a love to last past Saturday night. I'd like to know it's more than love at first sight. I want a Sunday kind of love. I want a love that's on the square. Can't seem to find somebody to care. I'm on a lonely road that leads me nowhere. I need a Sunday kind of love. I do my Sunday dreaming and all my Sunday scheming every minute, every hour, every day. I'm hoping to discover a certain kind of lover who will show me the way. My arms need someone to enfold, to keep me warm when Mondays are cold. A love for all my life to have and to hold. I want a Sunday kind of love. I want a Sunday kind of love. Thank you. So the Bible says, and it still is used. Mama may have, Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own. Yes, the strong gets more, while the weak ones fade, empty pockets don't ever make the grade. Mama may have and Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own. Of bread and such, you can help yourself, but don't take too much. Mama may have, Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own. Good morning. Welcome to our annual summer jazz service at the First Parish Church of Stowe and Acton. I hope you enjoyed our opening numbers. They were Sunday Kind of Love by Barbara Bell, Louis Prima, Anita Leonard, and Stan Rose, and God Bless the Child by Arthur Herzog Jr. and Billie Holiday. I'm Sarah Beauvais, and I'm happy that you all could join us both in person and on Zoom. The messages and music for this service will be presented by the Parish Jazz Band. Our band leader and guitarist, Michael Palladini, is recovering from surgery and is not able to perform with us or deliver the homily as he normally does. We miss him and hope he makes a speedy recovery. In Michael's place, we have two guest musicians, Paul Rodriguez on guitar and Michael Merrill on mandolin later on in the program. The homily will be given by our trumpet player, Lindsay. So thank you to everyone who has stepped up to make this service happen. And now for some church announcements. First Parish Church of Stowe and Acton, or FPC, is a Unitarian Universalist congregation and a welcoming spiritual community. Our minister is the Reverend Cindy Landrum, who is on summer break right now. As we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are gathering on the traditional lands of the Nipmuc and Pawtucket people and pay my respect to elders both past and present. Today is Sunday, August 15th. If this is your first time with us, we welcome you. We invite you to check out our webpage, fpc-stowe-acton.org, for news and information. You can also sign up there for our newsletter and email alerts called FPC Announce, and for our email forum, the FPC Forum. Our Welcoming and Membership Development Coordinator is Jolene Trotta, and her contact information is on our webpage. She will happily respond to questions and help contact you to information about our many activities. Children are welcome in our service today. Religious education classes begin after Labor Day. For more information and registration, please contact our Religious Education Director, Michelle Cote. Her email is listed on our church webpage. And as usual, we will light our chalice. We light this chalice, symbolic of the warmth of community and the brightness that love brings to the world, illuminating our search for justice and peace. Light, that force that nurtures all living things. Please give your attention to Quincy Sprague for our opening words, followed by Lindsay with a reading from the Bible.
Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but because he was short, he couldn't see over the crowd. So he ran up ahead and climbed the sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, "Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today." So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw this and began to mutter, "He has gone to be the guest of a sinner." But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, "Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount." Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost."
Please join us in reciting our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
another song called Out of Nowhere by Johnny Green. Wonderful schemes from nowhere. Made every hour sweet as a flower for me. If you should go back to your nowhere, leaving me with the memory, I'll always wait for your return out of nowhere, hoping you'll bring your love to me. If you should go back to your nowhere, leaving me with the memory, I'll always wait for your return out of nowhere, hoping you'll bring your love to, hoping you'll bring your love to, hoping you'll bring your love to me. Thank you. Please rise and body your spirit and join us in singing hymn number 97, Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child, found in the gray hymnal, or the words are a little repetitive, so if you don't have the words, hopefully you can still join. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. seated, thank you. Now we will hear a reading from the Bible, followed by John Coltrane's jazz masterpiece, A Love Supreme, performed by our saxophonist, John McNeil.
A reading from the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians. The body is one and has many members, but all the members, many though they are one body. And so it is with Christ. Now, the body is not one member, it is many. If the foot should say, "Because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body," would it then no longer belong to the body? If the ear should say, "Because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body," would it then no longer belong to the body? If the body were all eye, what would happen to our hearing? If it were all ear, what would happen to our smelling? As it is, God has set each member of the body in the place He wanted it to be. If all the members were alike, where would the body be? There are, indeed, many different members, but one body. The eye cannot say to the hand, "I do not need you," any more than the head can say to the feet, "I do not need you." Even those members of the body which seem less important are in fact indispensable. God has so constructed the body as to give greater honor to the lowly members, that there may be no dissension in the body, but that all the members may be concerned for one another. If one member suffers, all the members suffer with it. If one member is honored, all the members share its joy.
During our next song, which will be A Child is Born by Thad Jones, we will gratefully gather any financial support you can give for the work of this church and the work of our plate-sharing organizations. The collections from all of the summer services will be split between our church and Out Metro West, a local organization supporting LGBTQ+ youth in Framingham. We're fortunate to have such an active membership, and we're able to share with other organizations. As always, your generous support is appreciated. Those of you joining us via Zoom will find directions for how to donate in the order of service and in the chat area. Thank you. It is time for today's homily by Lindsay Lozo.
Thank you. So, hi everyone, my name is Lindsay, and first off I want to thank Michael, who hopefully is watching at home, for letting me speak today. So hopefully I can do a good job in sharing my personal witness with you guys. So I've been in this general community for a while now. You've probably seen me around singing with Sounds of Stowe and playing with this band and several other bands in the area. But some people don't know that I'm also a Roman Catholic. So I grew up in St. Patrick's Parish in Milford, New Hampshire, and I've been a parishioner of St. Michael Parish in Hudson for about, it's crazy, but 7 years now. I've always been curious. It's why I have an advanced degree in engineering and why I work for R&D in a top-tier life science company, and why I teach not only college mathematics and chemistry, but also 6th grade religious ed class. In my life, my faith has not eluded my curiosity at all, and that's in part why I'm here this morning. I want to share with you some notes from my religious journey so far. A vivid memory in my journey comes from when I was about 13 years old. One night in religious education class, we all assembled together for a guest visit from our priest. And when he arrived, he told us to ask him any question we had, any question at all. We could write down our questions anonymously if we wanted, or we could simply ask those questions aloud. And of course, having to be thorough, I did both. I asked him the question, what's the difference between our church and the Methodist church down the street? You see, in our town, the Methodist church down the street had a church band that I was absolutely dying to be a part of. The entire night went by, and he never answered me. And ever since, and to this very day, I've pondered why, and not to mention held a little bit of a grudge. To me, it seemed unfair. Why was it that the question about wearing red on Palm Sunday was answered? Why was it that the kid who asked about why ordinary time is called ordinary time got his question answered, but I didn't? I began to ask myself, was it a silly question? Did everyone already know the answer and I just didn't? And as I grew older, I even grew a little skeptical. Even though, I even thought that my priest maybe didn't want to answer the question. Yet, after reflecting on it once again years later, I'm starting to realize that maybe I should have given him the benefit of the doubt. And now you're probably thinking, why would I ever do that, right? Well, my reasoning comes after reflecting on the second reading this morning from St. Paul's letter to the Corinthians, which is one of my favorites. At first, it really doesn't seem much more than a quick anatomy lesson. But it doesn't take very long to realize that it's much more than that. Feet, hands, ears, eyes, nose. If I told each one of you right now to rank these in order of importance and then come to a general consensus, I think we'd be here for a while. Actually, I think we'd argue forever and never come to a consensus, giving about a mile-long list of pros and cons for each body part. The catch is that there ultimately is no answer to that, because even though they're all very different, they're all very important. They all come together to make us, one body, made in the likeness of God, which is one of the first lessons we learn in the Bible, in the book of Genesis. God didn't want us to even try and rank them. Don't even try, he says, because they're all equally important in his eyes. So you're probably still wondering, why would I give my priest the benefit of the doubt? Well, in light of what St. Paul said, I think in a wordless way, my priest answered my question. Of course, there are differences among the Christian denominations, and I'm not going to stand up here and pretend to know them or list them or understand them. Later in the Bible, Romans 12 goes on to elaborate on how important these differences are in contributing to the whole. Each of these body parts, they look different, they do different things, they're in different locations, they can even function independently. They're all one. We, the many churches, are separate parts that come together to praise God in very similar ways by loving our neighbors and gathering as a community on Sunday morning in celebration and worship together. And I think that God sees us as one. In Catholicism, we say a prayer called the Apostles' Creed or the Nicene Creed. It is really long. It took me about 7 years worth of masses to learn it. And when it comes time for my sixth graders to learn it, I let them use a cheat sheet, for the most part, all except one single line. And that line goes as such: we are one holy, Catholic, and apostolic church. This line is so important for so many reasons, but I want to point out that the word one comes first in that sentence, and that's not by accident at all. And that brings me to Zacchaeus from the first reading this morning, another favorite of mine. I think the story fits beautifully with the morning's session, longing for belonging, and also demonstrates the idea of being one. All of us can relate to Zacchaeus in one way or another, and I'll tell you today how I think I do. Before grad school, I took a 6-year hiatus from the church during college. And then 2 years into grad school, I joined a whole bunch of musical ensembles in the area. And there I met a lot of wonderful people, a few of whom went to St. Mike's. And of course, I casually mentioned that I was Catholic, but I hadn't been to church in an embarrassingly amount of time. And then something unexpected happened. I was invited back. I mean, the parishioners literally told me, come back. And it threw me for a loop because they made it sound like I'd be coming back home, somewhere familiar, despite never being to St. Mike's before. And that was my stand. To me, it didn't feel like coming back. It felt more like a step into the unknown, a step into somewhere that was vaguely familiar. But isn't that exactly what Jesus was saying to Zacchaeus? Zacchaeus wasn't particularly liked in town. He was an outsider, a sinner, what we call in our faith a lost sheep. Jesus called on him, and all I can imagine is Zacchaeus, shocked, sitting up in that tree, looking both ways and saying, "Wait, you're talking to me?" And yeah, he was. That's the beauty of it. Jesus wanted to stay with Zacchaeus because he knew that Zacchaeus had a place with him. Jesus accepts everyone, the lost sheep, the found sheep, the sheep with long hair, the sheep with short hair. They all belong. And he said to Zacchaeus, "Come back, because you are always a part of this much bigger thing." Just like all of us here are a part of this much bigger thing. Zacchaeus gave himself up to the Lord and to his community. He reconciled, he became better. And as a result, the change he brought upon himself gave him the ultimate feeling of belonging and acceptance. And like Zacchaeus, I accepted the offer, and I came back. But unlike Zacchaeus, that wasn't the moment where I respond to Jesus, "Wait, you mean me?" A few years later, my aunt passed away. We were very, very close, and it was devastating to our family. Her Bible, I was lucky enough to get passed down to me. And I actually don't think that any of us in our family really understood just how wonderfully faithful she was. But I was inspired when I read her notes and her excerpts and letters and poems and underlined passages. I realize now that she wanted nothing in her life except to feel the belonging that Jesus gave to Zacchaeus, that Jesus offers all of us. And then, and all she wanted on her tombstone was a lamb to be engraved. Very simple. Now, my aunt, she crocheted a lot. And when she passed, all of her yarn, which was about a truckload's worth, was passed down to me. It took me a long time to finally part with it. But at last, I donated it to St. Mike's. And then I totally forgot about it. Totally. It was probably about a year later when I was cantoring or singing the healing mass at St. Mike's, which is the mass where our priest blesses homemade prayer shawls that go to the sick at hospitals around the area. Halfway through mass, I found myself staring at that pile of shawls in the front and recognizing it. And then more, and then more, and then more. They had all come from my aunt's yarn collection. And I sat there in complete awe, tearing up, thinking about my aunt and her lamb, the symbol of belonging, thinking about how she just wanted to be accepted, just like Zacchaeus. It wasn't a question anymore in my mind. I knew at that very moment that my aunt had finally found her place of belonging with Jesus. She gave of herself, all of herself, down to the very last string of yarn, all embodied in a stack of prayer shawls that would bring comfort and belonging to people of all backgrounds and all religions. And at last, she was a sheep returning home. And that was my, "Wait, you're talking to me?" moment. Because I was the one to witness that. Not one of the other 5 cantors in our parish, me. And that's when I knew that I'd finally come back. I think all of us, no matter who we are, what we believe, want a sense of belonging. So I ask all of you this morning to reflect. What makes you feel that belonging and that acceptance? If you don't feel it, how could you feel it? How can you bring it to yourself? Are there changes that you need to make? Are there people to help? Are there talents you have that you need to share in order to find that acceptance and belonging? For me, Jesus was calling on me to begin my journey to a place where he knows that I belong, but a place that only I can find. He said it to Zacchaeus, and he said it to my aunt. I accept you. You belong with me. And now I'm pretty excited to see where that journey is going to take me. So I thank you for listening to me this morning, and may God bless you.
Please rise as you're able and join in singing I've Got Peace Like a River, number 100 in the Gray Hymnal. Closing words are from Mother Teresa. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. And now join in singing our benediction. Peace be with you till we meet again. Peace be with you till we meet again. As life lays its task before you, keep the banner floating o'er you. Peace be with you till we meet again. Thank you again for joining us today. We're the Parish Jazz Band, led by Michael Palladini. Our members performing today have been Paul Chastel on trombone, Peter Fisk on drums and percussion, Lindsay on trumpet, John McNeil on saxophone, Quincy Sprague on bass, myself, Sarah Beauvais, with vocals. Our special guests are Paul Rodriguez on guitar, and Michael Merrow will be playing in our postlude on mandolin. He's also been doing sound for us, so thank you. Our next performance will be in front of Hudson's Town Hall on Saturday, August 28th, from 4 to 6 o'clock. I hope you can join us. Now please enjoy our postludes, Come Sunday by Duke Ellington and All Blues by Miles Davis.
Thank you.